everybody. Welcome to the Shack and Vintauris Workshop Sunday Night Live. This is live number, what, 53? Did we decide if it was how many it was?
Well, I wasn't going to go and count them. I was just going by approximate date. So
We said
yeah,
we've been doing it about a year, so we should be somewhere around 53 total.
yeah, yeah. We're in the low to mid 50s. So
We're gonna have to start like putting like season 2, episode 1. We're working on our second season of the show, guys.
very
So
nice.
appreciate y'all for coming. And if you're in here, please hit them buttons. Uh, I mean, smash the thumbs up, the subscribes, all that good stuff would be greatly appreciated. Uh, it's been busy here at the Shack. I've been dropping a few little videos trying to just give everybody an idea of what was going on. But so y'all know most of what's going on here if you've been watching the videos. But what have you been up to, Steve? I hadn't heard anything out of you. You've been a little quiet.
Yeah, it's end of semester at work, and we had a bunch of changes going on as well. I've got a staff member that's out with a new kid and such. So um, just I was really tired these evenings, so I haven't been as productive as I'd hoped. But I've been out working on some things. As a matter of fact, uh, sneak preview for a video might be out tomorrow. We'll see how I go in the editing. But playing around with the screen printer, was able to make up some of these can koozies using the screen printer, which is really cool.
Yep.
So I'm kind of enjoying that thing, getting the hang of that, and gonna try to want to come up with a T-shirt design that maybe is not just my logo, but something different and unique as well. So definitely gonna play around with that a little bit more. I do. So like the semester's done, faculty and students are on break. I still have to work or take vacation time, so it'll be a little bit of both. But yeah, I'm gonna get caught up on some things. I got some projects, some other things that are coming out. So
Cool. All right. Well, I was gonna say hello, everybody. I see Brian is with us tonight. I appreciate y'all stopping by. Jack, what's up? Jim Pitts, hello, sir. Just finished putting together your Rolly 1030. There's not a whole lot to put together, Jim. That's not a major undertaking. But I feel what you're saying though. Uh, Victor, Northern Michigan. Welcome back, Victor. I recognize that name. E.T., Old Guy Designs. I think he was with us last week. Larry Broom, Mark. Had enough. Okay. I hadn't seen you in a while. Where you been hanging out at? Uh, let's see. Robert Lowe, Robert Court, Tom Baker, of course, Brian. And that's right, Brian. Hashtag Vintauris gets all the better toys. Uh, that is true. Michael, Jim, Mike. Oh my goodness, they're starting to get a bunch of people in here commenting. And of course, our friend is down under there, Mr. Chris. Good morning to you, Chris. How's your coffee? Uh, and Minnesota Maker, frequent flyer. Hadn't seen him in a week or two though. So good to see you back. And Brad Ham, also another name I recognize. So repeat customer there. We didn't run everybody off. Ryan Weller. Recommendations on a 10 watt. Ryan, there's a lot of them out there. A lot of them. Lynch Reptiles. Hello, Steel City. Is that Steel City, Birmingham, or is that somewhere outside of Alabama? David Klein. There he is right there, the old arsonist himself. Uh, Jim Castro, Jody, Robert, Midnight. Yeah, a whole bunch of folks. Looking at the map, it looks like most of east of Mississippi. Well, I will say that my viewership, looking at my stats, a lot of them are, believe it or not, in the Northeast, which I guess maybe they just like laughing at my accent. Uh, but yeah, my mic should not be low, Klein. You just turn your volume up, bro. We done a sound check. I think everything's good.
hopefully, yeah.
Uh, Hello, morning, Pittsburgh. Okay, Steel City, Pittsburgh. Gotcha. All right, looks like everybody that has commented so far, most everybody has either been with us before, but if you aren't, don't forget about the Laser Engraver community page. Go like that on Facebook, and it also we got that map on there. Steve's. I don't know when the last time you did the refresh on it, but
I
Steve's
just
going to
refreshed it.
refresh it occasionally and try to keep up with where everybody's at, which is kind of cool to sit back and look at it because
Mhm.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I can't
Uh,
quite get that automated yet, but so I think in the link or in the description or whatever they're calling it now, each of our videos, you should be able to see there's a link to a form and a link to a Google map. So if you want to be listed on the listener map, go ahead and put, you can put a name or you can leave that blank as long as you put in a general area. You don't have to put your exact address. You can put just the city, you can put the state, you can put a popular attraction that is near you. As long as Google Maps can figure that out, they'll put a pin on your location, and it's kind of cool to see where everybody's at. Completely optional, but fun to kind of see where the community's at. So go ahead and look for those links down below. And I do have to manually update it. I've been trying to do that every so often when I see them. So go ahead and do that. We'll try to keep up on it.
yeah, Brian. I didn't tell him that. I usually just burn it off. I let it get out, burn around itself, and then put it out. That way, all that stuff's out of the way. Keep having to rake. There's no need to be raking it, up. But I kind of set him up. I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to do it, and I waited until he got here and put his wood on there to let it get out. But I always burn it off all the way up to the chicken pen. That way, if I'm in here burning something and the wind does pick up, there's like no chance it's going to burn anything because everything around it is already toast. But he didn't know that, and so I kind of acted like I was panicking, and it scared him a little bit. But if you look real close in the pictures, you'll see that all the little bushes and stuff up there were like dead and brown. That's because I do burn it off about every weekend. I set fire to that whole hillside. Uh, da, da, da. But yeah, thumbs up, guys. I appreciate that for whoever's passing that on. Somebody asked me how the longer's doing, and the longer is asleep right now, but it's taking a break. It's taking a much needed break after this batch of 50 ink dens that I just finished. I don't know if y'all saw the little short that I did, but I had all the machines on this side of the building that I have vented. I had them working. So I had 3 machines going cutting those things out, and then today me and Brandy got around to putting them together, and I've got just a few more to put together. Okay, if I turn my mic up, everybody's gonna start yelling because everybody usually tells me I'm too loud.
Well, apparently I'm too loud and you're too soft. So
I mean, we can crank it up, but I'm running the same settings that I always run. So,
yeah. Well, and mine is well, it bumped down a little bit, but mine is not pegging any meters. So I'm not sure what's the imbalance. But we'll try to adjust a little bit. So
okay. Well, I mean, mine's hitting the center of the orange, which is where it's supposed to hit when I go like really loud. Yeah. So, I don't know. What is that top secret project? Oh, no, that's not top secret anymore. Those things are out and available at Maymay's shop now. Uh, do,
and you're on
do,
your second
do.
run, right?
Yes, I made 100 the first go around. This batch is going to be 50, and then whenever she sells out of these, I'll do another batch. But we're kind of doing them. Basically, she's doing. When you go to Maymay's shop, if she's sold out of something, you can actually like put it in your cart and add it to your wish list or whatever, and it tells her how many people are wanting it, so that we don't overbuild. You know what I mean? To try
Yeah,
to
that's nice.
manage inventory so that I don't do 100 of them and her only sell 30. So that's what we're doing right now. Is once she gets a number together, she's like, okay, go ahead and give me 50, and then the next time give me 50 more, and that's the way it usually works. I'm also doing like 50 more of the ink bandits, which I passed that job off to Klein because I got too much other stuff going on. So you know, let him make a little money off of that one.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I actually had a friend stop over end of the week here and pick up a laser because he's a good friend of mine that we've been doing RC models for years, and he designed an SR-71 Blackbird. If anyone's familiar with that kind of spy plane from the late 1900s, and he hasn't done much with it in a number of years, but he's kind of getting the itch to work on it again. And instead of outsourcing his laser cutting, he was asking me about it, and I said, well, why don't I just provide you one to play with? You can do some of your prototyping on it, and if you really get in a pickle and need some more work, then you can use one of my, or you can bring your stuff over to mine. So kind of gave him the crash course on it. We'll see how he does with that, but it's yeah, it's nice nice getting those things out with people.
Yeah, it's like I said, Klein. He comes over here about once a week and steals something. Oh, he's like, hey, what about this? What about that? But he's putting it to use. He does help me on jobs when I get backed up, so it works out for me. It benefits me in the long run. But
Right.
Yeah, Brad, I thought I was about done with everything. Had all my orders cleared out. I've only got two stove covers and one cutting board on the wall over there. But then I had a guy ask me about doing two cutting boards with recipes on them today, and I had him email me the graphics. So I've got all the front end work done. But he's you wanting to use his specific pieces of wood for the project. So once I receive the wood, we're gonna burn it and be done with that. But so far, I'm as caught up as I've been in a long time. So that's that's good for me. Let's see who else we got. Well, Brian Maymay said the logo should be, and hang on, I got a bunch of them sitting here. I don't know about this. This may be something somebody else does, but it was supposed to. She said it's supposed to be the Clack Shack X Maymay made it. I don't know what that means. But that's what she told me to do, and that's what we did. So this one's been sanded and fit checked. It's just got to go out to the spray. But yeah, it doesn't seem like a whole lot, but I went and got 10 sheets of plywood to stock up, and I have burnt through a lot of it getting those guys done.
Yeah.
Jack, you making fun of my high speed clamps? I use those guys all the time, man. You go to Dollar Tree, and you can get like a pack of 10 of them for like $1.50. Oh, and they're steel, spring steel, so they're really good clamps. They got a flat back on them, so when you're gluing stuff up, you can kind of help hold everything together. It's the ultimate laser worker's clamp, man. Don't make fun of me on that now.
Yeah.
Brian, wait,
Those and
why's Brian saying math's hard? Did I misadd something?
those and clothespins make some really good cheap clamps.
Oh, there goes that fireplace again. Everybody's giving you a shout out for that fireplace.
Oh,
That was a win on your part there.
yeah, no, it was a fun project. I'm glad people are enjoying it. I know both Rich and Hobo with Wood, Steve, they were talking about it, playing around with their own ideas and versions of it. So it'll be kind of fun to see that. Um, and I've seen other people do that and similar things too. So it's not necessarily an original idea, but just kind of getting it out there in a fairly simple form that can be modified was kind of what I was going for. So
Cool. Brian, actually, the benefit he gets is he lives in the city, so he can't just burn his scraps. He has to haul them to the dump. So what he normally does is he brings it over here, and while he's here, we just burn it out there where I usually burn mine, which my burn pit needs to be. It's about time to take the tractor and go dump it. But yeah, I burn mine. I've got a really big burn pile at the top of the hill, but that's one of those rainy day burn piles because it is massive. So you do not burn that unless it is raining. So, but this one out
well,
here, I burn it all the time.
rainy days has been what it's been up here, and I'm not complaining, but because it's not snowing, it's been raining. Although we did have a freak, just very isolated snow. It was fine down here where I live, but I went up on the went up across the river and up out of the valley, and up by campus, it was just like a snow globe. It was just this like maybe
Mm.
4 square mile area where it was snowing. It's very weird.
Well, I'm sure you'll have enough snow before it's over with, Steve.
Well, guy can dream.
Yeah. Uh, Around here, Jim, we don't have there's not a whole lot of events after the holiday rush, most of your businesses and stuff like that typically between, let's say, Christmas and probably March or April are kind of like recovering from the last year and resetting things, doing inventory, doing this, doing that. And it's, I mean, there are, of course, candy places and stuff like that that have a big rush on Valentine's Day. But Valentine's Day in the laser engraving, you can get a lot of work off of it, but you got to market that stuff. If not, you're going to lose out to chocolates, roses, and jewelry, because those are the kind of the big things around Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I think there's a couple places that host kind of like winter farmers markets or craft fairs that are somewhat regular, but I want to say they're like maybe once a month and it's in like this greenhouse place, so they have space that can set up for them that's not being used at the time. Um, and our maker space has, I think, like a quarterly. Uh, they have a quarterly maker market kind of deal. They just had
Huh.
their winter one here in the Christmas, so I think like every 3 months they run one as well for their members, and they allow other people to bring it in as well. But yeah, I would kind of agree with you. They kind of people take a little bit of a pause. They take a break from everything with the rush around Christmas and New Year's and such. And then as the spring stuff starts back up, you probably start seeing more.
Yeah. Well, we don't currently have a maker space here. Now, maybe one day, if maybe one day we might have a Chilton County maker space or Clanton or whatever. But right now, it's just kind of like we just don't got one. I didn't even know that was a real thing until you told me about it. But it's a
Yeah.
really
Well,
cool
it,
idea.
it takes it takes it takes a number of people into that. I mean, they're not cheap to start up because generally you're talking about some space, you're talking about insurance and some fairly expensive equipment and such.
Oh
So
yeah.
um, they need a good base, a community based support, or a very wealthy benefactor that just wants to throw money at it. So I'm trying to find that guy that wants to hire me to manage it for my, I got to
Yeah.
work for another, maybe 5 6 years, get my kids through college or whatnot. But after that, I got to find that kind of pre-retirement gig that lets me enjoy a job that
Well,
uh, isn't so
I
stressful or
feel you.
something.
Super Duty. I'm gonna end up getting me a bigger machine eventually, but I don't know if I need anything that big as far as laser goes. But I am after I get through tax season. I gotta wait till I get through tax season because I don't know what the damage is gonna be. Luckily, I have been saving to buy my retirement time back that I lost a few years ago when I changed jobs. Uh, so a lot of my money's been going to do that, so that I can go ahead and retire in 22 months, like I plan to. So most of my money goes to that these days. But I'm going to sometime after tax time, once I make sure they're not going to pull me through the ringers there. Uh, there will definitely be a large CNC coming to a clack shack near you. Now, in the meantime, I'm supposed to be getting an extension for that guy uh, in the meantime. I haven't seen it yet, haven't seen tracking information. It's not available on the website, but apparently they're releasing an extension for the 4040 Pro. And apparently I'm going to get to try it out and see how it works and show you guys how to put it together. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that one goes. That might make it a really. I mean, I already think it's a really good kind of dip your toe into the CNC router world machine.
Yeah.
Um, and that, bumping that size up just a little bit, I think would be make it even more attractive as long as the price is right. That's one of the things. Like even with the 6050 that they sent me, the price is kind of in that range of like, well, you're spending a fair amount of money. Do you make the jump into the bigger machine that's
Yeah.
not a whole lot more than that, or or do you stick with the? I mean, it's definitely plenty of size for doing a lot of signs and smaller things. But the minute you want to get into maybe modest furniture or just that one bigger piece, you hit that limit. So
Yeah, well, they're saying it's going to make this guy 600 by 600, which is a little bit bigger than the 6050,
Hmm.
but it's not going to be as stocky and as strong as the 50 is. But I mean, all in all, like I said, as long as you maintain your feed speeds and don't get too crazy with it, it does a good job. You just kind of have to take it easy. You can't really go bulldozing through there because it's not quite as sturdy as some of the bigger machines are. So,
Hmm.
and when you look at this with 16 millimeter bars, as opposed to the new 150 with 50 millimeter bars, there's going to be a little give. Okay,
Hmm.
they're just going to be. So, but it is looking a lot like, and I have bounced around the X-Carve Pro, the 150 Elite, and I've looked at the CNC Labs, but I don't like the rollers, the rubber rollers they're using. And they've got a new machine that they're fixing to release, but I can't get a whole lot of information on it. But it looks like the 150 Elite Journeyman is going to sit right over there. I don't
Hmm.
think I need the 4 foot by 4 foot. I think that may be a little overkill for what I'm wanting to do. But the good news is, if I do decide to get the 4 foot by 4 foot, it's an upgrade kit. That's something
Yep.
you can't do with the X Carve, because if I get a 4x2 X Carve Pro, then you can't just upgrade it. You got to buy a whole new machine. So that's the one thing Onefinity right now is leading the pack due to that. So
Yeah,
we'll
that's
see
one
how it
thing I've
goes.
appreciated about them is that they even mine one of the earlier what was it, the X35 woodworker. Then they gave us a path to the X50, and then now they're giving us a path to the Journeyman Elite, which we'll see. I it it's about an $1,800 upgrade for me, and I'm like, I don't need it, but I kind of want it.
Yeah.
So we'll
Well,
see.
I was
I
looking at
got some
getting the
projects.
Pro. I was looking at getting the Pro, and then I look at it and I'm like, but for $500 more, you know,
Yeah.
it's like yes. And my wife's like, whatever you do, do not underbuy. She's like, if you're gonna buy one, buy
Well,
what you want.
yeah. I mean, if you're starting to, I mean, that's kind of where I went with my first CO2. Is I was just looking at the little K40s at the time, and then all of a sudden I was realizing how quickly I was going to go. I'm going to want a bigger space, and then so I'm glad I went the route that I did. Saving up a little bit longer and getting a better machine on the front end that I didn't run into limitations early on. So, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
But
they're trying to get you one. Uh, but yeah. Well, I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think there's no danger of Onefinity sending me a CNC to review. That would require a lot more. I think that would require me to have a lot more bigger audience for them to do that. They're pretty well established, and I don't
well,
see it happening.
they ever since they launched those, they've had a lead time on their machines. Now it's gotten better at times, but I know when I ordered mine, it was like a good 2 to 3 month wait to get it.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're not hurting for sales, and they do have some pretty good channels out there. There's uh, oh, I got to remember his name, but there's a couple people that I really like. Hamilton Dilbeck is one of them that he bought his original Onefinity and started making a lot of content around it. He even did a thing called Make Timber, where he made one project every day for the whole month, and that was last year, and has done really well. Gives a lot of good kind of. He explains his thinking, and he talks about how he's marketing them. He even like does some videos on going to markets. So if people are looking for another good channel to watch, and that's more around CNC equipment, Hamilton Dilbeck's a really good one to look into.
Yeah. Yeah, hobo. That's my philosophy. I still, if it wasn't for my space restriction, I'd probably go ahead and get the 4 foot by 4 foot. But until I get into a bigger building, I really need to hang on to that, because whereas the X Carve is 4 foot by 2 foot, which is 48 by 24, the Onefinity is actually, was it 48 by 32. So I will be getting a little bigger work area, but not quite the full 48 by 48. But until I get more room than what I've got allocated over there, it's going to have to work.
See, now you're starting to encroach on where you got to start looking at like the Avid CNC line where you can get the 4x4, then upgrade it to the 4x8, and even I think have like a 5x5.
Well, I mean, if I get a bigger building, there may be the 150 may have a bigger cousin sitting next to it. Who knows?
Yeah.
But that'll be a while because I'm not building another building until I retire. Unless it's like I was to be passing through Georgia or Mississippi and buy a lottery ticket and hit the lottery, then I might go ahead and do it then. But short of that, I've got to retire before I can build a building. Because in order to justify having that building, I'm going to have a lot more work coming in, and I can't take in a lot more work until I get rid of this full-time job I got. So,
I'm telling you, you just got to pay your employee better.
well, she quit on me today, so I don't know.
What?
Yeah.
Was it because of the pay?
No, her mom showed up.
Did someone
her
try
mom
to
showed up,
unionize?
her mom showed up, so she went to visit with her mama and left me hanging.
Ah,
But I mean, I docked her pay 50 cents.
so
So.
the union rep came in and said, "We're having a meeting."
Yeah, but she did a lot of them. Yeah, Brian. The I don't know what's going to happen with this building because she told me that I was kind of looking at blueprints and stuff and kind of dreaming, and she did tell me that whatever I built had to have a porch like I have here, and that she's going to put a rocking chair on the porch of the new one. So I don't know that she's planning on doing a whole lot of work if she's going to be sitting in a rocking chair, but we'll see.
Well, just remember, it needs a bathroom.
Yeah, but there comes $5,000 more worth of expenses for septic tank and everything. I don't know. We're just gonna have to have some really good bushes around on the backside.
Okay, so cut a door in the wall, and then it exits into a porta potty.
Hey, I tried getting Brandy to let me put me a sawdust outhouse over here. Wouldn't do it. Wouldn't go for it. She said
All
if I
right.
get to where I can't walk to the house, we can just have one put in out here that's the right kind. But anyway, water cooled spindle to the CNC. Yeah, Jim. Like I said, it's a personal preference thing, and I'm gonna be honest with you. Y'all know me. Cable management is a big deal with me too, and that's one reason I cannot, for the sake of me, make myself go with that 150, the regular one. And I know I could probably put drag chains on it and do all that myself. But
Well,
I wish they'd have put them on it in the videos that they have on their site because when I look at it, I see all these cables hanging. It's just like, no, you know?
so they do have an upgrade kit for it now. They're that you can add to the older machines if you don't want to go to the Elite. They now have a drag tank kit, and others have added. But yes, I know that was one thing I was like, but it's really not too bad. The only one that is really in the way is the coiled one that goes to the Z-axis. But
Yeah. It's just the cosmetics of it to me. I mean, I know I could probably fix it with some drag chains and some 3D printed parts, but it's just when I'm watching those videos and I watch the Pro and the Elite with the drag chains, it's just like, okay, pay the extra money. Pay the extra money. But yeah. Yeah, Mark, I don't know that I'm going to go with water cooled. I've had my share of having to deal with something to circulate water with the CO2 lasers, the M40 that I've got. Not really crazy about that. And as long as my new shop is as climate controlled as this one, shouldn't be a problem. So if it starts to be a problem, then I can upgrade to something water cooled or whatever. But I've watched a lot of guys videos that have air cooled, and they're doing the stuff I want to do. So I think I'll be fine.
yeah, I mean, air cooled versus water cooled. Just moving into a true spindle is a big game changer. The water cooled does, you have to add the chiller or a pump and a reservoir at least. But the thing that I like about it is that when you have the air cooled, you're blowing air through the spindle or the router, and then it's got to exit somewhere. So it can also hinder and mess up some of your dust collection as well, and it adds noise. With a really well set up water cooled spindle, the only noise you're going to hear is the bit going through the material. So if that's a concern, I mean, but generally your dust collection is going to be louder than your air
I was
cooled
fixing
or
to
your water
say.
cooled spindle. But I mean, if you're also addressing that where maybe you have it in and out building or something, uh, that's your big benefit is that they are quieter and they're not blowing extra air around that can create more of a dust collection issue. Other than that, yeah, the simplicity of air cooled spindles makes it a very attractive upgrade over the water cooled.
Yeah. Well, now if I get my way about it, I will have me like a little lean-to tin building on the outside where my air compressor, my exhaust fans, and my dust collection is going to live.
Hmm.
That's the plan, with some type of insulative barrier to keep the noise out. That's the plan, but we'll see if it fits in the budget when I get ready to build. But there are. Here's a question Jason's got. Been watching for him. I finally got one. There are laser garble, and which is basically a lesser version of Lightburn, and I'm sure there's some other lesser known softwares out there, but GRBL, Lightburn, and XCS are going to be your best bets, in my opinion. What about you, Steve? What do you know of anything
Uh,
else?
well, I mean, there's some of them have like a mobile app that will do some basic type of things. But as far as you kind of hit it there. The Laser GRBL, Lightburn are kind of the open source and or paid for uh, versions that control most lasers. Now you're seeing more and more of them come out with special features that aren't quite supported in Lightburn, um, which is unfortunate. Um, that if you're used to Lightburn, or if their app is not fully featured yet, So, um, but I have to say, when I first got my X Tool D1 and it was a Laserbox Basic. Is that what it was
Yes,
called?
Laser Box Basic. It was
I
okay for tumblers, but that was it.
Yeah, it was very limiting, but now like with the P2 and even the F1 and some of the newer lasers, they've put a lot of development into their software, and you can do a lot with it. I wouldn't necessarily tell a person that they have to upgrade to Lightburn to really get into complex things. You can do a lot with that, but um, yeah, there's your primary ones are those. I've heard though other manufacturers like Atom Stack is working on maybe a standalone piece of software for theirs. Of course, with the We Create Vision, they have their Make It software that runs with theirs. Of course, theirs doesn't fully support Lightburn in the way we'd like it to, so you're kind of forced to use that. But for the most part, those are the major ones: is Laser GRBL and Lightburn if you're not going with the manufacturer stuff.
Jason, if it's an X Tool D1 20 watt, my guess is that somewhere in the process of installing the machine, something either did not take or a step may have been skipped in the setup process. So my recommendation would be to remove the machine from your computer completely, and then I've got a video that walks you through step by step. You can do the step, pause. It's got all the links where you need to go download the different things that you're going to need, and just go through that video again and make sure you didn't miss a step, because I've had a lot of people who have issues with the X tool, and it's because they forget to download, a little adapter from X tool or whatnot. And once they go through it the second time, they actually get it that time, and then it works. So I would try that before I went to struggling too much with it.
Well, and the other thing too is that if you're having trouble homing on the Xtool D1 Pro, take a look at your cables on the back end of the gantry. The way they mount them by default, they can bump into the back of the frame, or there's maybe a loop there that's pushing on the frame, not quite letting it hit off before it hits the inductive sensors. So double check your wiring. That may help solve some of the homing issues. that it might actually be mechanical and not just software. So,
Yeah, you would think they could have spared like an inch or two more wire for those harnesses, but
well, something. It just needs a little more room in there. And yeah, that's
yeah.
well, like we were talking about with the CNCs. Cable management is, if it's not done right, that stuff can really get in your way. So,
Mm-hmm.
but
Do, 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 do.
I see we've got Jerry here, 3DHP from Las Vegas. Thanks for joining the show.
I thought I
Good to see you
recognized that.
here.
I thought I recognized that name.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure.
yeah.
Uh,
And then I just saw another.
Bassy boy from the UK. Hey, go put yourself on the map. We need some more representation over there.
So Bill's asking whatever became of Lightburn for CNC. So they did announce this at Lightburn Experience. It's MillMage software, and I believe it's supposed to come out towards the end of the first quarter next year. So sometime around March, I believe, is when it'll actually be released. So it is going to be a separate software that they're developing. So it'll be something you have to purchase and not necessarily an add-on to your existing Lightburn. But yeah, I know a number of us are curious to see how that pans out and how it is and the pricing and whatnot. So
Yeah.
hopefully soon.
Well, 3D HP, I appreciate that. It's just kind of me and this piece of building I got here, but I appreciate it. I put a lot of work into it, believe it or not. I know it doesn't. I know people don't think I do, but I actually do. Oh, I see here.
But yeah, um, there was another question I think we missed.
Stephen Fraser. Uh, well, there's a couple different ways you can do this, Stephen. You can either use a jig, or probably the simplest way if it's a one-off and you don't want to invest the time to build a jig, uh, is in Lightburn, go to current position, mark the center of where you want your graphic to be with, whatever piece of, you can just use a piece of painter's tape or whatever, and line the laser up using the laser dot to make sure that you're where you want the center of the design, create the design, send it to the laser's current position, and burn it that way. And what that'll do is that will make really absolutely sure it's going where you want it. Now, if you're going to be doing 50 of those, go ahead and build yourself a jig. But if you're only doing one, if it's a one-off cutting board or something that you're engraving, do current position, get it done quick, and move along. That's my opinion. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, no, I would agree, especially on like round objects. Finding the center and then just starting off a current position and putting your origin at the center is a pretty good way to go, or a jig. Uh, the other thing that you can do is if you have like a waste board, if this is just like an engraving, get yourself a scrap piece of material, draw the shape, have it do a quick score of that, and then you can place your item down, and then like turn that line off or something for that. But generally, I'll do what you said there. Is just mark the center and go with that.
Yeah. Now, cameras will make life a little easier if you don't want to use current position. But there again, even with the best camera setups, there's always going to be a little bit of wiggle room that you need to expect. But yeah, several different methods.
Yeah, I
So
I
I'll show
have
you
yet
a
to
scrap piece of wood.
I have yet to find a camera that I think they're great for when you want to get it roughly in an area and use a piece of scrap wood. But as far as aligning to a really close spot on a round object or something, I have a hard time trusting them.
Well, let's let me get this.
Do
Let
it.
me get this fired up right quick.
All
Now,
right.
my camera, I will say, I spend a lot of time with my cameras adjusting and stuff. But even as good as I've got it adjusted, you're still limited to the accuracy. And I'm going to send this out, and you can see that It's going to burn this little dot. And once it burns the dot, I'm going to update the overlay, which will show you how consistent it is. And you can see the dot right there. So when I update the overlay, okay, so far so good. And let's turn this layer off. Well, why is it not showing? What did I have my power set to? 150. Let me see if there's actually a dot in there. No, there's actually a dot in there. Where did I go? Why is my camera not updating? Huh. Cameras.
Got a live demonstration.
Well, I don't know what happened. My camera's not updating. There's or either, hang on. Turn the auto bright off. Maybe it's just washing it out. No. All right, let me turn the camera off. This is being weird.
Yeah, Mike says it's Russian hackers.
No, wrong enclosure. I got way too many cameras. All right, let's try this again. Where in the world is my bird? Okay, not real sure why my camera is not updated. Let me throw something else in there and see if it's actually updated. Because I can't see that. No, it is not updated.
No.
Nope, there
There it is. There it is.
Okay, so it
Just
is
can't
updated.
see your dot.
Oh, there we go. All right. So it was updating. It's just way overexposed in there. I need to turn my lights down. That's what it is. All right, so now let me turn that layer back on and see what happens here. Yeah, see there? That's, to me, that's acceptable for a camera. If you expect it to be more than that constantly, you're going to be very disappointed. But I mean, I'm within you can see these little 1x1 squares at this view. So I'm within 3 or 4 millimeters of where it's supposed to be. But that, to me, you could do a pretty good job of determining shapes and sizes to get you a frame going if you need to for these. Doing it this way, using the camera to do a frame. But current position in the center is going to be more accurate unless you go through the trouble of making a jig. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to turn those lights down while I'm thinking about it.
So if you're doing things with if you're doing like coasters, you got like the 4-inch round coasters, and maybe it's a different design each time, but if you're going to do them often, it's definitely worth setting up some sort of jig for you to be able to just drop your logo or your text or whatever you're putting in there, and even if it's like a one-off item that you don't want to risk, like I say, if you can take just a piece of MDF or scrap plywood, put it down as your wasteboard, focus above where you need to for that, draw an outline of your shape. Now you know where it's going to be, and then you can use that as a tool line and then work off of the other area. So
Okay, I got that fixed. I had to turn my lights down inside the enclosure. It was ridiculously bright in there. But yeah, I was like, why is my camera not updating? But it was the whole time. You just couldn't see it. Ooh.
So Lori's got a question for us. Now that the holidays are winding down, what are some projects that you two will be working on to sell?
Whatever they call me and ask me to make.
Yeah.
I generally, like I said, and I'm a little different than a lot of folks because I have a customer where I make stove covers weekly. I make cutting boards weekly. Now this is the lull in their season, so it's just kind of when I catch my breath right here around Christmas. But as soon as tax time's over with, they're going to be back at it hard and heavy, 5-6 a week. So typically between the stove covers and cutting boards I do for them and the other jobs that I get locally, I actually had another laser business here in my county that does lasers. Sent me a customer tonight because it was converting handwritten recipe text to a burn and putting it on a cutting board. And I don't know if maybe I do know she uses a Glowforge, so I'm guessing maybe the possibility of converting that just wasn't there. But they actually said she sent me, and I'm like, okay. So I had them email me the text, and hang on, I got a better camera over here. Had them email me the text. I converted it, cleaned it up, got all the lines out of it because it was on lined paper, and there we are. And I sent them proof of concept, and I'm supposed to be getting those done tomorrow night, and that'll be two cutting boards. So
Nice.
most I don't really have to go out and seek out jobs most of the time. I actually have to. I wind up sending a lot of stuff to Klein, and I know Klein's a school teacher, so he's out of work next week from his regular job. So I have sent him my other order for 50 ink bandits. So, but yeah, but it's Valentine's Day stuff can be cool. Photos on wood, like especially if you get like some cedar or some poplar or something that you can really do a good image on. Those are pretty lucrative, I guess you could say. And there's a lot of people that get married in the spring as well around Valentine's Day, so anniversary gifts a lot of times get a little popular. But like I said, usually they find me. I don't have to go out looking for them as much. But hopefully I'll get some of those in that aren't surprise gifts, so I can show y'all uh, how the process of doing them, or either record them and then hold on to them for a couple of weeks and then release them.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't. I'm actually looking forward to a little bit of time. I've been working on kind of reorganizing my shop a bit, shuffling some things around here, and I do want to get working on a larger enclosure for extended lasers. I'd like something that I can drop the Niji into, but also I've got the extended rails for the IKEA, and it just seems like most lasers that they're coming out with extensions as well, and so I want to be able to have something that's easier to test those or run them long term. And so that I'll probably be taking a little bit of a break to work on that and kind of finishing up some midway projects. So
Yeah. Mark, I will tell you this. I have a Sculpt Fun camera. I have Minton cameras. I have board cameras. I've had Adam Stack cameras. I have tried cameras of all shapes and sizes. And 9 out of 10 times they'll be 100%, or not 100%. They'll be very, very accurate. But you got to remember, it's usually going to be accurate in one quadrant of the work area at a time, and it will never fail. You'll put something in there that's really expensive, and when you burn it, it'll be 5 millimeters off because the camera shifted on you. So, just I have done stuff using the camera, adjust the image temporarily, lay something in there, and do a quick burn, but frame some more. I'm telling you, like I said, cameras are great. I love them, and I put them in every enclosure I have. But don't trust them too much, especially if you throw something in your laser that's like $600 and you're fixing to burn letters on it. Uh, do not trust it completely. Frame some more. Cover it with green if you need to. Throw some green painter's tape on there and run like a 7% burn and just do a shadow line. But you know, don't always trust cameras. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you, they'll burn you. They'll break your heart. I've told that to
mhm.
people before and they didn't listen, and then they're like, "Oh my god," and it's like, told you. Because it's never going to happen when you're burning like sheet goods. It's never going to happen. They're going to be perfect every time. You throw something in there like that's expensive or that's a family heirloom, that's when that camera's going to screw you. That's when it's going to happen. It's Murphy's Law. That's when it's going to happen. So, yeah, just be careful with that. Don't get too much confidence in those cameras. I love them. Don't get me wrong. Love them to death. But don't put too much faith in them.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. You can spend the time and get it dialed in, but if it's irreplaceable, first off, it's probably not going in my laser. But it's
Well,
it's
I
getting
have.
more time. It's getting more time set up on it to really multiple checkpoints to make sure it's going to do what we want it to do. So
Hey, I've had some stuff in these lasers before, and it'd be like my whole heart just be pounding. I hit that start button. It's like, and you're like, oh, thank you very much. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's not a bad. That's not a good feeling though,
No, no.
because it's like once I push this button, there's no going back.
Here's one that you've done a lot with recently. Sure, you can
Ooh,
offer some tips.
yeah, very fast. They take LPI pretty well, so you can run that up and watch out for the backflash off of the honeycomb or the little blades, because I don't care what anybody tells you. If the laser hits anything after it comes through the mirror, there's potential for backflash. Whether it's the We Create blades, the X Tool P2 blades, no matter what it is, there's potential for that. If you've got a brand new clean machine, it's probably not going to happen as much as if your machines are well used and slightly dirty. So always space, anytime you're doing mirrors or glass, space it up off the honeycomb, put something under it outside your work area, and at least allow it 3/4 of an inch between the mirror surface and any kind of material.
Yeah.
Unless you want it to burn on the front too. I saw somebody the other day that laid one on a spoil board and was engraving the back of it. And I was like, "Yep, I learned that lesson. You wind up with the image burnt in your spoil board, and the front of the glass is frosted all the way across with this brown soot stuck to it."
Yeah, that can happen. And practice. Get a sheet out, a mirror downstairs. I have a mirror that I'll just put a test grid on and you know test put it in my setup, make sure everything's looking good. Then I'm not getting that flashback, and then run. Lowe's is a good spot for those 12-inch mirrors. They're not terribly expensive, and they make good practice pieces.
Yeah, now have 12-inch, 10-inch, and 8-inch mirrors. I got a box of 10s and 8s over there. Haven't done anything with the 8s yet. I used some of the 10s already. But yeah, I've got two or three. If you go to my channel and just type in keyword mirror, I've dropped so many mirror videos lately that I had to quit because those people was gonna boycott me because I put one video out and everybody's like, hey, we can't do those on this machine because it's 12 inches. So I went down to 10s and did those. And I also have 8s, but I haven't done anything with them yet. I'm actually the
Yeah.
8s. I think I'm gonna make like a window frame and have like multiple mirrors in them.
Ah,
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
neat.
Hurt. 52 minutes, guys. If you hadn't already, like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we've got a whole bunch of links in the description. I know I do, and Steve said he does as well. Our map that we're keeping up with where everybody is. You don't have to put your home address. You can just like pick your neighbor's address if you want to. But put an address in there that's, reasonably close to where you geographically are located. And that way, when we look at the map, it just kind of gives us an idea of where the viewers are. And let's face it, guys, it's just kind of neat to see some of the folks. Like, we got folks in Australia over there with Chris, Japan, places that I didn't even know we had. We had somebody over in, was it Johannesburg, Africa?
Yeah.
Which I didn't know we had that one, but apparently we do. So it's cool.
Yeah, we're missing Antarctica from the continents. So if anybody's there watching,
If you're in
put a
Antarctica,
pin in down there.
yeah, I mean that would be awesome. Well, Hobo, I don't put anything near the surface of my mirrors. Nothing. Because I have gotten scorched too many times on that. I elevate. The further, the better.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I did one with just MDF underneath it, and luckily, I mean, it was elevated maybe like 3/8 to a half inch, but it definitely was getting the burn through to that. So I was like, okay, maybe a little more distance or something. I mean, in that realm though, at least it was absorbing it and not reflecting it. So
yeah, yeah. I mean that. Then you just got to worry about a little bit of soot because you're gonna get some soot on the backside of it. As long as the heat doesn't get too good, too hot, you should be fine. Oh, this dust, man! I have stirred up so much dust, and I had to turn my dust filter off when I'm doing the live, and it's still kind of like everywhere.
Yeah, might be tough running a laser down there. I imagine they don't necessarily want you to vent that air out from inside, but yeah, I know. It's a question that a lot of people ask is, how safe is it to run dialed lasers in colder weather? And obviously, you as the operator are also going to be cold. Your computer is going to be cold. So those are some things. They technically can operate at those colder temperatures, but you got to worry about some condensation and such. But we'll see. If the temperatures do get consistently cold here in Minnesota, as they normally are this time of year, we're enjoying a what is it, the La Nina, El Nino weather is keeping us a little warmer so far. Maybe I'll take one of mine outside and run some cables out there and do some tests on it for a bit and see what it does. And I'll pick one that maybe's had a good life, but could risk it running it in some colder. I mean, we get some weeks here, January, February, where we don't see a positive number on our highs. So that might be an interesting torture test.
Yeah, well, that means you're gonna have to be in that negative numbers too. So
No. I just run the cables out or wirelessly. I got an outlet outside. I could be in here in the relative warmth of my shop.
yeah. Uh,
There's ETLC's asked us a couple times. So, question on any program you can use to easily remove the lines from handwritten recipes. Note editing is really tedious.
I mean, way I do it is I edit the pictures and then I bring it in Lightburn, trace it, and go in and edit it. Most of the stuff, I mean, some of the stuff, some of those little artifacts you can get by with leaving in there. But if it's on notebook paper, a lot of time, especially if the ink's dark enough, you can go into a picture editor and contrast it and brighten it enough to where Lightburn will not see those lines on the paper because they're blue, and you can contrast it out.
Yeah, I was gonna say if there's enough color difference between the ink and the lines, you can kind of play with some of the tracing and that to cancel out the lighter or the darker or whatever color. Um, but unfortunately, at some point, you are going to have to end up probably doing a little bit of node editing if they're too close. So
Yeah, kind of like this one. This is one I was working on tonight. All right, you can see this one, and I'm very specific about how I have my photos taken from my people. But you can see this one's written on blue, like
hmm
regular notebook paper. So I just use the Windows utility to go in here and mess with the adjustments. But if you'll turn the exposure up just a little bit and then turn the bright up, you can almost wash it out completely. And then just save that. And when you go over into, there's Steve. When you
okay.
go over into Lightburn and you bring that in, where did it go? That's it. When you bring that in and you do the trace function, you can see it's not really detecting those blue lines because they're not anywhere near the same contrast. So you just got to play with the adjustments here until you can get it to pick up what you want. Because if you see at the top left corner, it's missing part of my noodles up there. So I just adjust it to what I want, bring it in, and then, like I said, from here, I'm just going to ungroup. And like a lot of this stuff here, you can just trash it. And once you get these few lines out, it shouldn't be a whole lot left. Just got to watch for that stuff to be connected because, see, like that one is connected. So I'll take that one out. But what I could do for this one right here is I can come over here, draw me a box, and then I can take and select this. Well, select that. Make sure I group it. It's ungrouped. Where's my dot? Select that, and then use this little guy right here to erase it. Well, it didn't erase it. Stand by. I didn't have it all grouped. Change that to a tool line so I can see through it. So you can take this little guy right here, just kind of put it up against it, and then I can select that, hold control, hit this over here, and then just kind of cut that little piece off. And then if you really want to get detailed, you got to go in here and snag all that and get it out of there. But for the most part, most people, if you send them this on an engrave, with the exception of maybe like this little random piece there, most folks are going to look at that and be okay with it. I'll show you the one that matter of fact, I just got through editing this one. Let's see, where are we at? Hang on. This is the one that I have just got approval on. Hold on a minute. I'm going to have to take you off my screen. I don't want y'all to see all my customer names.
But you're going to share their recipe.
Yeah, well, I don't want people to be able to put two and two together. They might not recognize. The chances of the person who, let's see here. Okay, the chances of the person who sent me this family member recognizing this is pretty slim. So this is the finished product I come up with. There actually was two of them. And I leave a little bit of that in there because, like I said, it's from paper. Now, this one actually turned out really nice because the lines were faint, and this was a blue ink, I think it was. So I was able to actually do this one. I used like a thousandths offset to brighten it up a little bit, and it made it look pretty good. But yeah, it's a little bit of those little artifacts. It's not a big deal. You are tracing handwritten text, and not very many people are going to take the time to do that in some of the bigger shops and stuff that you go into. But if you can get them to scan it, a lot of times a scan, if they set the DPI high enough, scans work really good. But most of the time, I just tell them, hey, do you have an iPhone? Yes. Lay it flat, get some good lighting, and take a nice picture from directly overhead, and send it to me by email. And then I'll send them a proof of concept, and then I get confirmation. And this is my little proof that I sent them. I went ahead and burned it to a piece of scrap glue on and said, this is what it's going to look like. And he said, approved, I'll bring you the wood tomorrow. So that's what I like doing. I like being able to show them the basic idea of what it's going to be before they commit. That way they know I'm not just blowing smoke, because they probably asked 2 or 3 other people and are like, oh no, I can't do that. So, that's the way I do things.
Yep. Those can be very popular for certain, like memorial type things or special occasion kind of things. So if you can kind of get a good workflow down for them, and people get to know that you do that, as long as you can figure out that it's worth it for you to your time, it can be a nice niche for you.
Oh yeah, I've done a bunch of those over the years. That and like letters, like sweetheart letters, that's a big thing, especially around anniversary. If somebody's got like, let's say it's a couple that's been together since like grade school, and they've got like a letter that one of them wrote to the other one when they were in school or something, those type things. I mean, sentimental things like that. I mean, I've even engraved audio files onto a plaque with somebody's picture using a QR code. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. So, well, let's see.
Man,
Craig's asking if Brian S. from Milwaukee is here. Hopefully, Brian. Well, either that or Brian's hiding. I know he's around. So, yes, he is here. And we got
Brian. Oh yeah, Brian's here. Klein is probably going to be the S value. It was right when it left here. That's all I got to say. Somebody's been messing with the S value on that machine, or either added it to a different machine and didn't change the S value.
And here's Steve Hobo Wood has a good tip on that too. You can use the remove shape smaller than selected option in Lightburn, and
yes,
that'll that'll grab a lot of the smaller, like when you get the little specks on a image trace.
Yeah, but a lot of times, especially with handwriting, if you ain't careful, there'll be a bunch of little where it just barely
Hmm.
picks up a loop or something, and it'll take that whole block out. I just prefer just go through that real quick by hand. I zoom way in and just tick 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 tick, and it's because
Okay.
I have burned them before and then realized that I took the back off of the D and it looked like an O because the it just if it's typed text or something like that, it'd probably be easier. But with handwritten, I have a heck of a time getting all those little bits out any other way than just the old fashioned way.
Well, and some of that too is when you're doing the trace, you gotta weigh it a little heavy to capture more of that, which might mean you get more of these artifacts. But if you can then in post take the artifacts out easier that are not, because I've seen that too. If you try to get
Yeah.
too fine, all of a sudden it starts breaking up your letters and such. So
Yeah. Klein, check the lens. Check the lens. If it's suddenly not cutting and the S value's at 1,000, my bet's it's got a dirty or cracked lens. Somebody needs to learn laser maintenance.
yeah, I've been talking with a lot of people around that, um, running through a lot of lenses. You can tell that people are busy with their lasers.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought I had cracked one on my S1 yesterday. I was trying to do some cutting, and for some reason, I don't know what happened. I don't know if I did something to confuse it or hit the wrong button, but it was way out of focus. I just happened to look over in there and saw it was that high off the wood, and I'm like, what in the world's going on?
Hmm.
So I stopped the job, put some more wood in there, refocused it, and it worked fine then. But it scared me for a minute because I was like, oh, I had a cut line like a quarter inch wide. I was like, that's not good.
Yeah, definitely not something you'd normally see on the laser. So
Eddie, you're gonna have to just get you some cat head biscuits. That's what you need. If you ever get any cat head biscuits in Japan, you would be a sensation if you could just make some cat heads over there. Look up a recipe for cat head biscuits and make those. They're about that big. Put a whole piece of bologna on one of them.
bologna on biscuits.
Heck yeah, fried bologna on a biscuit with a little mayonnaise. Shit. I know my people's in here that I know they are. Fried bologna on a biscuit, man, ain't nothing like it. If you ain't got a biscuit, just throw it between two pieces of white bread. It's still good. Throw a little cheese on there. Next time you come down here, Steve, I'm gonna take you somewhere. We're gonna get you a bologna biscuit. Now I'm not talking about like the thin Oscar Mayer bologna. I'm talking about half-inch thick slab of bologna. I gotta get you out when you come down here again.
I mean, I can't say too much because Minnesota is where we make spam, but there's just certain processed meats that are a little too processed. Bologna's one of them.
No, no, that's good stuff right there. Hang on, let me
Uh huh.
find you a picture. I'll find you a
You're
picture.
you're the people who want to put mayo. What was it on pears and lettuce or something weird like that? What was that thing?
That's a pear salad.
Yeah, yeah. First off, that's not
Those are
salad.
actually those are actually really good. Steve, you just gotta know. Hold on,
Uh huh.
let me send you. Let me drop this. I'm gonna drop this for you right here. And this is this is for you, Steve. Y'all gotta click it and look at it because you ain't gonna be able to see it. But that's for you, Steve, right there. Go on and look at it.
So glad I can't click on links.
Oh, you can click on a link. That's right there. That's if you ever traveling through Alabama and you see a Jack's restaurant, just stop and get you one and try it out. What is it that the ad says?
Okay,
If
Mark, I don't make lutefisk. I don't eat lutefisk. I run in the opposite direction of anyone doing it. So,
a pear salad, y'all don't know what a pear salad is, man. Y'all gotta Google it. Southern pear salad. Just Google it. Southern pear salad. It's a pear with some cheese and some other stuff. I don't remember what, mayonnaise, cheese, a little lettuce just for some decoration. Get your greens in, and man, you eat that thing up. Boy, they good. They good. Yeah, Philip knows what I'm talking about. Look at him. He's using sharp cheddar on his over there.
You got to remember, southern Minnesota is very much in the Midwest of corn and beef, right? All right, meat and potatoes kind of stuff. So now, Mike, lefse, I will enjoy some good lefse, yes, but
Oh man.
I don't know about some of this other stuff. You guys boil everything down there.
Well, we fry most everything. We do boil some stuff though.
Well, maybe if you fried your peanuts instead of boiling them, they'd taste better.
We got those too. Deep fried peanuts. We got all kind of stuff.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, you can get a deep all kind of deep fried stuff down here. Ain't nothing like it. You can get a deep fried Twinkie. You ever had one of them?
Minnesota State Fair is the capital of deep fried everything. So, hmm
Larry, if you're saying you've broke two lenses on your H or P20 this week, look for water in your air supply if you're using shop air, because it'll do it. I got my little prize. This is my
well,
prize. This is what happens when you get water in your air assist.
even if you're running the stock pump on most of these lasers, they do have filters on them that they're small, like almost like paper. There's little filters on the intake. It's good to like pop those apart, clean, or see if you can replace that, because that can start not filtering anymore and letting some things through, or building up some condensation and pump that out. But yeah, water's bad, and or there's getting some sort of breeze getting in there.
Yeah, and I will tell you from experience, if your air compressor has a intake filter on it and it gets stopped up, it will cause your air compressor to generate excessive amounts of water. And so I learned that one the hard way. That's what I popped like 4 lenses in 2 days, and that was what it was water. I fixed the problem with the water. Hadn't had any more issues. Even after adding a second water separator to my enclosures, I haven't had any issues so far. Yeah, but I'm not
Uh,
getting any water in my water traps either. So
the other thing I've run into a few people, but they're using miscellaneous glass cleaner, and there are certain glass cleaners that if you don't wipe them completely clean, they'll leave like a slight film on there, um, or you know some sort of debris. That's why I always try to use as pure of alcohol as I can. It cleans it off and evaporates. Generally doesn't leave a film. Those can build up some issues. So make sure whatever your cleaning agent is, it's not leaving anything behind. So
yeah, and also if you're not running air assist all the time, make sure you clean regularly. If you are running air assist all the time, you still got to clean, but not quite as regularly. Uh, if you keep that positive pressure on that lens. Chris says they have chocolate coated witchetty grubs. Would you like some of those, Steve? Where do you get those at? Do they have them at Starbucks?
now, first off, it's Minnesota, so it's caribou up here. Thank you. I don't know. Chocolate, I'm sure that you coat any protein in chocolate enough, it's probably going to taste fine, but um, I'm not sure. But well, here's a
See,
good question.
oh, wait a minute. They see that's my
Oh,
people right there.
that
I guarantee you, Lano right there has had some of the government cheese, and has
oh
probably had
yeah,
to, and probably had to use some of that government powdered milk with his cereal before.
oh yeah, yeah. The
So
the government cheese that was like very reminiscent of what is it,
Velveeta.
Velveeta?
I
Yeah,
think it may actually have been better than
prob-
Velveeta. That was like the best. That's the only one thing. That's the one thing I will say that the government has ever done absolutely right was the cheese. Other than that, but they made good cheese back when I was a kid, or either I was just really hungry for cheese. I don't know which. But
well, I mean, it's hard to go wrong with cheese. But so anyway, Robert's asking, are we going to be doing a live stream next week, which is Christmas Eve, and then the following week would be New Year's Eve?
I mean, I don't see why not, as long as nothing didn't come up. I don't know when all my family gatherings will be, but I don't think any of them will be on Christmas. Will conflict with the times because I'm usually at home Christmas Eve with the kids and the wife and stuff. So I I don't see a reason why we wouldn't be. Might
Yeah,
actually try to have some Christmas something other going on here. Maybe I could put
you're
up some
gonna
Christmas lights.
you're gonna bake us
Oh,
some cookies.
I don't bake. I could try to laser you some cookies.
How about some fruit cake? You're gonna make us some fruit cake?
Oh, I can't stand fruitcake.
I don't know anybody who can. I mean,
I
it's the
don't
gift that
that stuff.
keeps on getting
Anything,
regifted.
yeah, anything that can survive that long and still be the same as it was the day it was made, it's not good.
Yeah, well, that's Twinkies. They've got like a shelf life of like 50 plus years. So,
But
yeah, no, we did we did one of our Christmas things yesterday, and I think for the most part, yeah, I'm free. I don't I don't do a big New Year's Eve thing anymore. So yeah, I'll be here. We'll figure out. We'll do something fun.
yeah, I'll try to come up with something. Maybe we can make it entertaining at least. But yeah, if you guys are just sitting around waiting on Santa to get there, then I guess we can. Unless, like I said, unless something comes up. Uh, but yeah, but yeah, back in the day, guys, like I said, I did not grow up wealthy, so I have ate a whole bunch of things that you would not believe. My grandmother. Uh, she was my granddaddy. First of all, was a double amputee, so my grandmother pretty much did most of the killing things around the house. But I can remember coming in from school and she would be cooking snapping turtle, uh, possum. She did not throw away any part of a chicken. You go in her house, there'd be like 30 chicken feet sticking up out of a crock pot, and she's making boiled chicken feet. Uh, the only part of a chicken we didn't eat was the beak. I swear. I think the beak was the only part they threw away. But yeah, it was an experience. I've ate most any animal, rattlesnake, any kind of snake you could think of, anything with fur on it that came through my grandmother's yard got shot and cooked. Uh, and she actually showed me. I had to help her clean a big snapping turtle we got one time because you had to take an axe basically and cut the bottom shell off of it and pry it open to get to the meat. And so I got a hatchet and got in there for her. But yeah, it's when I say I am not from the country, I am not from the country. Uh, Thank you there, Bassy boy. Is it Bassy or Basie?
Yeah, yeah. There you go.
One of the two. Well, I don't know about boiling everything. No, I mean, but now there's not much we won't boil. Let's see, what is there? No, I really can't think of any. I'm sure there's something that we don't boil, but I can't. I just can't think of it right now. Brandy, help me out if you're watching. What's something that we
Yeah.
don't boil here?
Well,
We boil okra, we boil peanuts, we boil pickles, of course.
okay.
I don't know.
Um, so Jeff's saying he posted a theory for lens cracking on the Facebook group. I think smoke is getting forced into the cone from the module fan, comes down to better, more efficient smoke evacuation. And yeah, that's something we've touched on in the past. Is that if you're not moving enough air through your enclosure, most of these lasers they have a fan on top for the diodes, and it's pulling air in. And so if it's getting a real smoky air up there, it's pulling all that there. Now some of the cones are just a cone on the end, and anything that comes through the top also gets in there. Well, some of them, like the atom stack cones, actually have kind of a double cone to it. There's an inner cone that the air assist goes in through, but they have an outer cone that smoke actually kind of goes around that cone and helps to keep it away from it. I like seeing those designs because it's just one extra layer of protection from keeping that smoke and debris away from your lens. But it's definitely something to look at. And besides the less frequent failures and need to clean as hard if you're keeping that smoke from getting circulated through your module. So
Yeah, and if you're seeing smoke like lingering inside your enclosure, you either don't have enough fan pulling, or you don't have enough air going in to replace what the fan's trying to pull. Because you should not have your enclosure completely sealed up. If your enclosure
no,
is completely sealed except for the fan, you're not going to move any air. it's got to have enough air to come in to replace the air being forced out. And that's where a lot of people, I think, mess up sometimes is they seal up everything trying to keep the smoke out of the house, when in reality, uh, a little bit of air is a good thing. And one way to test that is if you start seeing that you've got a lot of smoke accumulating in your enclosure, just take and get you something small like say this guy, raise the lid up and just prop this under the lid to allow a little bit of air to get in there and see if you notice a considerable difference in the amount of smoke kind of hanging around in there. And if that does the trick, then just go get you something to like some little felt
Yeah.
stick-ons or whatever, and put them on there and leave just enough crack just to let air come in, or punch a couple of holes in it, whatever you got to do. But that was one of the things that it took me a little while to kind of get the hang of, was how much air to let go into the enclosure. You don't want too much because then you'll have air seeping, smoke seeping out those holes. But you want just enough to where it's got a little bit of suction going in.
Yeah, I actually did all the math on mine when I made the slots on the front of my enclosure. So I calculated that area just to ensure that it was just slightly above the 4-inch diameter hole I had for the exhaust to try to encourage that. So, but yeah, it's definitely something I see a question from new people. They're like, oh, I'm trying to seal this up better because I'm still smelling smoke. You're like, no, you're doing the opposite thing that you need to do. You got to work on getting your airflow out and allowing that airflow in. So.
We don't boil everything. We don't boil bologna. Ah! And we don't boil
Bet you,
spam.
I bet you there's someone who does. I've seen some people, and if they're not, I saw this really horrible video of a person making a steak where they put like 4 sticks of butter in a cast iron pan to make their steak.
Ooh.
I'm like, okay,
Oh,
but butter with steak's fine, but when you're boiling your steak in butter as opposed to
I bet that
searing
thing.
it,
I bet that thing
uh,
was juicy though.
it looked horrible. It looked horrible.
Oh, I
It's
bet it was juicy.
There are better ways to make your steak juicy than that.
Oh man.
Uh, yeah,
Lano River says that bologna's pre-boiled.
pretty much.
Oh, mercy, mercy, mercy. Uh, any adjustments to make it if seems like spots? Not sure I'm following.
So if you're feeling kind of like it jerks along, or maybe hits just these certain areas, it might be something on the a misalignment of the belts to the pulleys or the sprockets on there. Or you could have the wheels may have been tightened down too much. I've seen where they really tighten them down in shipping, and they almost get like a flat spot in them. So you might want to loosen up your eccentric nuts just a little bit, see if they'll ease up, get back into round, and then in another day or two maybe just snug them back down a little bit. Um, but that are the two areas I usually notice as far as if you're hitting those kind of jerky, sluggish spots on them.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm running. Well, you saw I've got my right over here. Well, it's dark in there now. That's why I had that light turned up so high. But that's my uh, B1 right there, and it now I got to turn those lights back up. It is not sluggish at all. Did I turn them all the way off? No, they're just really really low. That's why I had them lights so high in there. But no, it that one runs smooth to me. So oh yeah.
There you go.
Hey, I saw that. It's about the truth of it as far as the contents of it. I guess is about the same.
Now, I'll give it depends, Hobo. Are you boiling them in water or are you boiling them in beer? One might
Mm,
actually be better than the other.
let's see
So,
if I got that. Yeah, I got it adjusted better now. You can actually see it there again. That's why I had that. I wonder why I had them lights up so high. I probably need to clean the lens. Definitely need to clean the lens. Make sure you've got your uh, Dopetus. Isn't the longer? Isn't that one that if you're not careful, it'll try to install as the legacy device too?
uh, Yeah, the longer it was auto detecting as the wrong laser
As I
type.
say, mine didn't do it, but yours did, I
So
think, didn't you?
yeah, both Steve makes everything, and I kind of running into similar issue on that with the type of
Yeah.
laser it was auto detecting as.
Yeah, make sure that it is set to, I think it was just a regular GRBL
Yeah, instead of like the
instead of the 1.1 or whatever.
yeah.
Okay, good question here. Uh, yes, always when you do your tests, and this is something that I do with mine, don't run the top speed that you can cut it. You gotta drop that down just a little bit. Just give yourself a little bit of wiggle room because plywood is as inconsistent as anything, and where it may cut one sheet really well, the next sheet might be a little tough. So you always want to kind of slow down just a little bit, give it a little more power than is necessary, just to be sure you get clean drops. My opinion. What about you, Steve? What is your go-to on that?
Well, the other thing I would suggest is if you can, the built-in tool with Lightburn is good to kind of get a pretty close, but they're just using squares, and your laser acts a little bit different on curves versus squares versus 45s and such. So if you can actually add a different shape in there and set up a custom test file for that, once you kind of get it dialed in, you can just do this manually with a few as well. You'll kind of see how it handles maybe a curve versus a straight line and such. Um, and I would agree too. I always back it off by a good, 15% or so, 15-20% of where it's really its maximum, because you just have to kind of account for inconsistencies in the wood, and even just strange grain patterns can affect the laser. Now it doesn't have to be like glue pockets and such, but yeah.
Yeah, a knot. The tighter the grain gets in those knots and stuff like that can really slow you down.
Well, and even just cutting along the grain versus cross grain, you're going to have a speed difference in there as to how well it does. So
Yup. Yeah, yeah. Brandy finally got the Employee of the Month award, guys. So everybody give her a hand. Uh, she, I don't know if you watched the video I put out today about the ink dents, but we are proud to announce here at the Clack Shack that Brandy is our Employee of the Month, our first ever Employee of the Month.
which comes with a
So
big bonus, right?
yes, you get a 300% bonus your first week's salary.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So
That's
what's
that's
300? What's 300 times zero? Oh, it's
that's
still
that's
zero.
a I'm pretty sure that's a you're sleeping on the couch, is what that is.
Maybe not. Maybe not. But yeah, she bails me out on these. She does really good with the glue up on the things that we're making, because like I made three extras just in case we had one that didn't fit quite right when it got done. So I wound up I just got three extras because they all fit the way they're supposed to. So Jetty, yes, there's a whole bunch of them. There's a whole bunch of them right there. I've got about 50% are completely sealed and ready to go. I am having to wait on the little rubber feet. Haven't got here yet. They're supposed to be here like Tuesday, I think it is, Monday or Tuesday. But I got to put the rubber feet on them once I get them all. Once I get them all done. But yeah, those are the ink pad holders that me and her dreamed up. So, but yeah, this one of course has not been sealed yet. But this is them. Three layers, guys. Three layers. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that mahogany burn right there too. Good looking. That's a good looking burn right there, guys. That's that. That's. I went to my local hardware store where I get my Luan, and they had a pallet of it, like 4 foot tall, just a big bundle. But I couldn't fit but 10 sheets in my wallet, so I only got 10 sheets. Brady says she's gonna help me with the math, figuring out her bonus. Yeah,
I wish you luck.
yeah. But guys, if you hadn't already, it's an hour and 30 in. We're gonna be about maybe another 30 minutes, and we're gonna go because I am getting tired already. I've been out here at it all day. Brady's been working me really hard, and gonna have to go to sleep here for long. But if you hadn't already, like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff, and check out the links in the description of mine or Steve's videos. And if you want to add yourself to the map, go drop a pin. Let us know where you're located in the world, so we can kind of fill in the blanks.
So yeah, Aaron was commenting on. I posted this earlier on my page. There's this piece of plywood that. Let's see if I can get this in focus. Uh, I was just kind of snapping it apart and noticed there are these like polyester fibers in the middle of it. And this is something that I know a friend had tried some out and had some success with one sheet. I think this was on the Atom Stack 20-watt laser, but then the next sheet was just horrible. And I was able to cut through this on the P2, but then noticed as I was snapping it apart that strand in there. And so it's a little concerning to see this in there, not knowing what it's made of. I think it's polyester strand anyway. But obviously, these are kind of things that if you're trying to cut out a piece and instead of cutting along this way, you're cutting across this way, you're probably going to hit that and your laser is going to probably have some problems getting through some of those sections. So just something to be aware of. Take a good look at your material if you're having trouble with it. And this is also a good reminder of, sometimes saving some money on the material is not worth it in the long run because you don't know what's necessarily in some of this stuff. And if you're just going to fight with it, it might be worth paying for a little more quality material. So this is some 1/4 inch. It's at here in the Midwest. It's at Menards. I was trying to find what it was. I don't know if it's some of their Tiger ply 1/4 inch stuff, but definitely something to look out for. And I think my friend Chris at A Glimpse Inside did some comparisons as well on some plywoods and ran into something similar on a stuff he got down in Florida. So sometimes it's not, that's where you can't just say, hey, I'm trying to cut through 1/4 inch plywood. What are some speeds? Well, this compared to, just some straight up hardwood plywood are going to obviously cut a little bit different. So
Yeah, no doubt. Let's see, who was that a while ago? Said he had it was the Z1. Missed it. Oh, Martin's Curbside. Well, glad you got the Z1 going there, Martin. Maybe you can have some fun with it and do some burning now. Bassy Boy, I guess is it Bassy or Pacey? Bassy, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, says he's in Essex, UK. So there's maybe if he can go put a little dot in the map, we'll have another little dot over there in the UK. We didn't have but a couple the other day.
there you go.
So I need to go look
Yeah,
at it. I haven't looked at it since you updated it.
The links are there. I've updated a couple times during the stream because we have had people filling it out. But if you're watching on either of our channels, at least on YouTube, you should be able to hit that show more, and there should be a link to the forum and the map so you can check it out as well. So, Robert's here. Apparently stumbled upon us due to the screen printer from Xtool. He's got it ordered. Download Xtool Creative Space. Yeah, so boy, you're loud over there.
I had to put me some water in my cup. I was getting thirsty.
So yeah, Creative Space is Xtool's own software. Works with their lasers, and there are things about it that are probably not as flexible as Lightburn, but they do keep developing it and they do keep adding features to it. And so that's one nice thing about it is that it's free when you buy, their lasers, it'll work with them. But they continue to refine it. So if we were back, a year and a half ago when it was, first out as Creative Space or before that as Laser Box Basic, I would tell people jump as fast as you can, get into Lightburn. Now for a lot of people, I think it's going to meet their needs a lot longer. Now, obviously, they only work with the Xtool ecosystem. So if you ever outgrow your Xtool and get into another laser, at that point, you're definitely going to need to learn Lightburn unless you're into some of these other high-end lasers that are kind of have their standalone software or just have print drivers that interface with various software like CorelDRAW and such. So I appreciate Lightburn. I've been using it for many years with my CO2 laser and now with a lot of the diodes. But the fact that Xtool keeps developing the software and bringing in new features and making it better, I wouldn't write it off as a waste. So it's not needed to work with their screen printer. You can get the settings, your speed and power settings, and then just use whatever software, whatever laser. You don't even need to use an Xtool laser with these screens. You can use any other laser to make the engravings on these screens. So it's definitely optional. So
Yeah. Jenny was talking about she saw a video where somebody burned directly onto a cotton T-shirt. I have burned shirts as well as blue jeans or denim, but I will tell you, do not start doing it on a piece of clothing that you're not ready to throw away, because there is a extreme balance to it, because it does damage the fibers, and it's like denim. You get away with a lot more because it's thicker, but with a T-shirt type material, you're gonna have to really balance the power settings to make it survive 2 or 3 washings, in my opinion, because it is highly destructive to the fabric.
yeah,
But yeah, you can do it. I don't know how I don't know how long it's going to last before it becomes a hole in your shirt, but you can do it. But keep some water spray bottle handy too.
well, I hear that's a look.
What's that? A hole in your shirt?
Yeah, hole in the
I
shirt,
mean, I
hole in
guess
the
it is.
jeans.
Yeah. Who's getting rid of high-dollar material for scrap? What?
Well, a lot of cabinet makers. Um,
Oh.
they just toss out their offcuts quite often. So sometimes talking nicely with them will net you some inexpensive material to work with. So all right, I just refreshed the map again. So if you put your pin in recently, it'll hopefully be appearing there now. And yeah, if you just put in like city state and it's the same as someone else, I'm not sure what it's going to do with those pins. They may overlap or ignore them. But if you
Yeah,
put
I say if
another
you put a
name and
city, because I've got like 2 pins on the map, because you drop one
well,
in Clanton, and then I got the one that's actually like on top of me.
yeah, I mean, I could adjust that, I suppose.
Hey, you can search me and find me. I ain't hiding. On average, 66 people a month get directions to the Clack Shack. I can tell you that from my Google Analytics. So, if you ever do look me up, leave a nice review, because I don't have very many reviews on Google. So I could use a few Google reviews. But yeah.
I don't know. You really want me to review
Uh,
your place?
I don't know. Can I delete those off of Google? I don't know.
Four out
Yeah, I
of
know how
five
you are.
stars.
I know how you are. You're gonna give me 4 stars.
Four,
It's
four out of
it's too
five
cold.
stars.
It's too cold here. It's too hot here.
No, just been 4 out of 5 stars. They boil too many things.
Frank, yes, I have used plywood to do some prototyping on some stuff, but a lot of times if it's like snap together boxes and stuff like that, of course, plywood's not really going to work. But plywood is good to like. I mean, you can even make like disposable jigs if you want with it, especially if you have an abundance of plywood. Keep you some pieces of it, and even with my system, now they're only good for a couple of uses because it's plywood, it's cardboard, it's going to fall apart. But you can actually cut my jig system out of cardboard and snap it in there, use it for a job, and then toss it. Uh, I've done that before. But yeah, cardboard's actually pretty cool, and you can even take big sheets of cardboard and build a file, and put the little like lines in it that aren't lines, basically the to make it fold, and you can actually do. I've got a couple of little small boxes that you can cut out of cardboard and then just fold them up into a little box, which is pretty cool. But that was some stuff I messed with early on in the laser stuff. But be careful with cardboard. It is also highly flammable.
Yeah. Uh, Jim, I haven't tried the screens with P2 yet. They just got me a few extra screens to mess with. I only had 3 to start, and I got to put the riser on that yet to be able to fit the screens in the P2. So I've just been using the D120 watt so far on it.
Robert, or not Robert, Bill, there's a form in those links on my channel and Steve's. It's basically a little quick form. You can put your address, or you can put your street. You can just put just street, city, state. That'd probably be the best way to do it. That way they're not on top of each other. Or you can put a street, 2, 3 streets down, or you can put your local Home Depot or Lowe's address in there. But you fill out that form and submit it, and then when Steve refreshes it, it'll add the pin to the map. There's actually not a way for you to physically add the pin. You just add your name to the spreadsheet that's being used to populate it.
So, Grandpa LBM, regarding Lightburn code, I have it on my PC in my workshop. Do I need a second code if I want to edit or design at home on my desktop at home? No, actually, they allow you now 3 by default. It used to be 2, and you had to ask nicely to get the 3rd, but I'm pretty sure they're updating everybody's to allow you 3 consecutive installs before it'll prevent you from adding it to another machine. So I actually have it on 3 different computers of my own because I have it on my laptop, I have it in my desktop in my office, and I also have it on another desktop down in the basement that I run lasers off of as well. So definitely take advantage of that before you need to worry about buying an extra code for it.
I see. I didn't know they'd updated it to 3. That's nice because
Yeah, it's always they've always kind of it's been the worst kept secret that if you just ask nicely they'd add another one on. But I believe recently they just started allowing everyone. Yeah, you can have 3 concurrent installs. I believe too, though, you got to be careful. They only allow you so many deactivations. I mean, it's a pretty high number, something like 20 or 25, but they're trying to prevent you from sharing it too much by activating and deactivating too often. So, yeah, you don't want to be changing computers too often on that, but you can have it on 3 at a time. So yeah, Robert, you do more than laser engraving, and that's it's a cool thing. That's that's me too. I like to play around with a lot of different making type things, from traditional woodworking to laser engraving, 3D printing. I even started buying the stuff to try to do some backyard metal casting and such with the lost wax molds and other things like that, but hadn't quite gotten everything together for that. But definitely love playing around with that, mixing mediums, not just sticking to lasers and such.
Oh, look at there. Oh, Rich throwing his head in. What's up, Rich? How
Hey,
are you?
good to see you.
There's the light burn guru right there. If y'all are looking for him, like right down there in the comments, Louisiana hobby guy. He's the guru. I'm still learning.
Yes. Well, we're all learning, but yeah, Rich has a good way of explaining stuff and walking you through it. So definitely check him out. Check out his channel, and then as well as the Laser Makers Realm is him and Hobo with Wood and Patrick with is it Light Source?
Yes.
I always forget the Light Source. So they're another good group of guys, and they do an every other week live stream, and they just moved it to Sunday afternoons. Light Source Engraving. There you go. So
you don't got one of these, Steve?
no, I don't have that cool sticker.
It's a hashtag. Steve ain't got everything.
But definitely check them out as well. Lots of good content around there. You know, if you've watched David and I over the past couple of years, you know that we like to support other makers in this space. We're not trying to compete with anyone. We all learn together. So definitely check them out. Show them some love as well. So
Yeah, Rich is my go-to guy for a lots of stuff. That and the Lightburn, like I actually early days especially did a lot just going to Lightburn's YouTube channel, like their official, and learn a lot of it there too. But Rich definitely brings some stuff to the table. So he's on my playlist for when I'm trying to figure out something. The other day I had to figure out how to do the to put the values in to do the concurrent from my spreadsheet. I forgot what it's called now, but anyway, I had to go to Rich and Lightburn's website, and I finally got it all figured out. It's basically just a wild card value and boom, 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 boom. Because I had a 80 something name tags I had to cut out. But now the challenge is to get people to send it to me in a comma separated value or a XLS format. That's the big challenge. Everybody wants to send
yeah,
it in a PDF. And I'm like, no
oh,
PDFs, no PDFs.
yeah,
But yeah, to me, it's all about all of us bringing our own perspective, our own experiences, throwing it together, and coming up with things that work. That's the way I look at it. Uh, Variable text, thank you, I appreciate that. Yeah, that function, which is really cool. That's something that you don't get with, say, XCS and other softwares, and that's like Steve said earlier. XCS has came a long way, but when you get to where you want to design your own stuff and build your own files, that's when you're going to be like, okay, I got to have something else now. Yeah, 1,500 locker tags. That would definitely require using that function. Uh, so that's one reason why I went ahead and figured out how to do it and got my mind wrapped around it, was so that when stuff like that comes in, it's not nearly as intimidating as having to sit there and edit that file so much.
yeah.
But yeah, Rich does a lot more of this stuff than I have. He's been doing it longer than I have. Rich has all the cool toys too. Steve's got like
Yeah.
all the cool toys. Like Steve getting like screen printing stuff. Like if X Tool makes a car next week, they're gonna send Steve one.
Uh, I no, no.
But
Well, we'll see what happens with that. I mean, you got your Atom Stack stuff before I got mine. I'm still waiting, hoping
I got something else
to
over
get
yonder
that for
that
the
you don't
8
got.
Yeah,
See
I
it,
know. You,
see it
you got
hiding over there.
that nice Lasermatic sitting back there. I see it, just in that nice spot behind your shoulder, staring at us.
But now I'm
So
up to. I've run 30. I think I'm at 33 total machines through here. So I'm trying to get the experience with the different machines and figure out what I like, what I don't like. Oh, but yeah, I have tried to slow it down a little bit with some of the smaller, like non-impressive machines, because there's just so many times that you can put one of those together. I mean, you
yeah,
put it together and you
when they're
test it, and it's just like, okay, this is just like the one that I just had last week. And so
yeah
I am
when
trying to figure out, and me and you both have talked about it, some of this stuff start to try to have raffles or whatever, like ever so often on the channel, maybe for some celebratory reasons or whatever, and maybe gift somebody with this stuff. And unfortunately, Chris, I don't know if I can afford to ship a laser to Australia, but we'll see. We'll see how that'll work out.
So, yeah, when they're just kind of copycat machines, I politely turn them down. But it is nice to be able to get some experience with some of the other new machines that are coming out, because we have people coming in and asking questions about it, and without necessarily being able to have our hands on it, it can be a little tricky. So,
What are you doing? Get off the laser!
so um, Robert was asking when I'm coming out with another screen printing video. Well, I was actually out here working on some things earlier today. These are some neoprene can koozies that I picked up. Went ahead and just threw my logo on the one side, and it's drying up now, but I got to let it sit for a good, I think, 24 hours or so with it. I'm not going to heat treat them or anything. So I'll have this coming out. I also did we bought some of these bags at Michael's. They're just kind of your cloth handbag kind of things. My wife just made a little design on there, so went ahead and did that. So I'm hoping, depends on, I don't know how much editing time I'll get tonight because I literally just wrapped up shooting that before this. But maybe tomorrow evening, otherwise Tuesday morning, I'll have that video coming out. And I'm wanting to play around with some t-shirts, but I've been trying to come up with some different idea than just throwing my logo on it or something. So if you have thoughts or ideas on that, go ahead and send them my way, and I'll see if I can come up with something fun, and we'll go from there. But yeah, so that'll be coming out soon, and having a little more fun with this. Show you how it works a little more in depth than what my live review was.
Yeah. 10 minus 9. I think that's who it was. Uh, yeah, if you're not familiar with Enclosure Zilla right there, I've got about 12 to 14 inches of downward movement in my honeycomb, and it's all electric. Uh, but this is basically probably the most versatile diode laser you'll find as far as enclosure goes. But I can lower the honeycomb all the way down, and literally gives me about another 12 inches of space. And you can see the line of chucks and rollers that are down there. When I'm doing tumblers, I've got a switch on there that I can flip the switch to engage the chuck, and then set the chuck up on top of the honeycomb, using the honeycomb to square it because the honeycomb's magnetically attached to the bed lift. And it's got a half-inch space between the honeycomb and the reflective panel that's under there. But yeah, the bed lifting is just go to my channel and look for my Enclosure Zilla video. But that is the most versatile machine in this shop as far as being able to do massive stuff and big stuff. I can put 5 or 6 ammo cans in there and do them all at the same time. It's pretty awesome. But anyway, let me turn that camera off now. Get this thing powered back up. But this is the machine I do all my stove covers and stuff in.
Very, very cool. Yeah, and you've got the air exhaust down below there too, right?
Yes, the exhaust is at the bottom of it, and I also have a fresh air intake on it, which I think I highlighted that in the video. Let me see if I can get it back over here. But hold on, I'm swapping cameras on you. Hold on to your seats. But that is basically a vacuum operated valve that stays closed as long as the lid is open. But if I turn the fan on, all right, you can see the fan is on in the machine, but the flap is closed. But if I close the door, it creates enough vacuum. You can see that the flap is now open and allows air to come in from outside so as to not pump my air conditioning or my heat out of the building. So watch it as I open the door. There you go. That's Enclosure Zilla, the most advanced homemade DIY enclosure you'll see all week.
which works great when you're not in sub-zero winters.
Hey, just move south of the Arctic Circle and you'll be fine.
I'm not that close to the Arctic Circle.
But yeah, I have put a lot of work into this enclosure. But yeah, it does keep the machine cool in the wintertime and warm in the summer. So yeah, the Niji 4 Max, the only problem with it is it isn't quite as long as I want to. I have considered taking and building my own rails for it and redoing the wiring harness and putting it in there, because this Acer V35 does not have auto air, nor does it have a Power Z. But the only Power Z that I really like is that Niji that's sitting over there. But it's only a 20 watt. I wish it was a 30 because I do a lot of cutting in there. A lot of cutting. You should be able to tell that by the look of that honeycomb. And that's actually been cleaned here recently. But I just got through running 50 of those little guys right there. I just got through building 50 of those, and those are 3-layered burrs that are like 16 inches long. So
See, you just got to get a honeycomb that comes pre-blackened.
I got one of those.
Then you won't be able to tell.
I got one of those. But
Oh yeah, the Atom Stack one.
yeah.
That one's like that too. No, I
Uh,
yeah, I'm that's one thing I'm hoping to get that bigger enclosure built for mine is I want to get that Niji 3 Max. It doesn't quite have the powered Z that you've got, but that would definitely be nice to get that one in a larger enclosure to be able to use that with.
Yeah, it's like I said, it isn't quite as long as this machine. I think it was close, but there was the dimensions were different. But like I said, it's only a 20 watt, but I do like the power. I do like the automatic air because the longer over here's got automatic air. Everything else has automatic air except for this one. So
Yeah,
that's
that's a gotta have on any lasers at this point.
yeah.
So
But anyway, yeah, I haven't updated the drawings for Enclosure Zilla because, like I said, it was a work in progress. I do now that I have the 3D printer want to reprint my little valve because I made it out of wood, and even though it kind of halfway works, I really think I could do a better job with a 3D printer, but I just haven't taken the time to do it yet. If it works, don't fix it sometimes, right?
oh yeah. Yeah, well it's kinda like firmware updates. If it's not broken, don't do it.
Yeah.
Or you're not gonna
Oh,
gain some big advantage. Don't do it. So
had enough. I used the cheapest odorless oven cleaner I can find and high pressure water. And then I used my leaf blower to blow that water out of it and allow it to dry for a while before putting it back in there. Which my enclosure is nasty right now. It needs to be cleaned.
I use this for so many things. LA is
Totally awesome.
totally awesome. You can get that pretty much anywhere, and it works very well. But any sort of like degreaser, well, now my camera's out of focus.
Woo!
Uh, come on, camera, it's gone soft on me. There we go. Any sort of degreaser like Simple Green, Dawn Power Wash, LA Awesome. Just spray it on, let it sit for 5-10 minutes, and spray it off. And that's going to get 90% of the crud off of your honeycomb. So
Yeah, if you leave and take it from me, guys, and I know a lot of these manufacturers don't do it. I didn't in the early days. I didn't understand the importance of it. But if you can leave at least a 3/4 inch gap or a half inch, I'd say at least a half inch gap between your honeycomb and whatever the surface is, whether it be aluminum, steel, or whatever you've got under there, leave about a half inch gap between the two. What I do is you can buy these little magnets that are about a half inch thick that are used for welding. I use those and put them all over the surface to kind of support the center, especially on this long honeycomb. And because if you don't leave enough airspace, one, the air is not going to flow out of there and it's going to stick to the honeycomb more. But secondly, you're going to start getting those little micro explosions to where it sounds like firecrackers going off in your enclosure. And they can get bad enough to where it actually moves your workpiece. So the more air gap you leave and the cleaner you keep everything, the less chance of that happening. I had I, I had a problem with this one the other day. It got so nasty. It sounded like somebody was in there with a gun shooting at me or something. Yeah, it was bad. Like it knocked one of my cuts. Like it happened while I was cutting, and it was like almost a half inch where it moved over when it landed.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's about that time, guys. So if you hadn't, hit all those buttons down there. Steve, you can tell them where everything's at. I done did it like
Where's
that.
that? Yeah, so down below each one of us, if you just hit that show more, it'll have links to each other's channels. So if you're coming here from mine and for some reason you haven't subscribed to Clack, check that out. Hit the subscribe button there. I've got links to my Facebook page, my Instagram as well. So we're always trying to mix things up on various channels, get it out there. And then we have our Laser Engraver community Facebook group. You can join that as well. Continue to ask questions out there. both Clack and I try to jump in there and ask or answer things and show things as well. But there's a great group of people in there that are helping each other out. We try to keep it clean of it's a give more than you take kind of scenario. So we will allow people to post things if they're contributors to the group, but if they're coming in and just wanting to post things for sale or try to scam them, we try to keep that clean. So but hit those like buttons, hit those subscribe buttons for both of us. Where it does help out the channel, get it seen, get the algorithms going and such. But we will be back, it sounds like, both on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, doing this to close out the year here Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Central Time. And appreciate you all being here. Otherwise, stay tuned. We'll have more content coming on our channels. And just appreciate everyone being here.
Yeah, somebody was asking for the S1 content, and guys, I'm going to try to get a little bit more out. Like I said, I've been trying to catch up with jobs. It is close to Christmas, so there's been some work that had to be done, as well as I've had some new machines come in. This guy kind of distracted me for a little while there. I want to do some content with it. It's a really, really awesome machine as well. So the problem I've got right now is I got so many machines that I enjoy and not enough room to keep them all. So yeah, check the channel, hit the subscribe button and the bell. And like I said, I will be doing some more stuff with the S1. A lot of times I'm doing the same jobs that I do week after week, so it's not that much fun to share with you guys, but I promise you that there will be more content coming soon. And don't forget, hashtag Steve gets all the cool toys. But,
all right, well.
We'll see you guys. And see you later, Rich. Appreciate you. And y'all go check out Rich's channel as well. Him, Patrick, and Steve. See, I remembered Patrick's name now.
There you
go. And yeah, Patrick Patrick sent me that sticker with those cool legs I got over there. So
very nice.
Oh, wait a minute. You don't have one of those, so you don't need the legs.
No, I don't know.
See you guys.
Just gonna rub that in forever. All right, we'll see everyone.